So I made all these pom-poms using a fork. If you've got a pom-pom maker, you know how to make pom-poms on a bit of cardboard because you're a 70s child like me, or you just make them on your fingers, then just fast forward a minute. But I'm going to put the pom-pom tutorial in now. So you've made your pom-poms. Now, if you've used different colours, the different colours might have been different widths. So you will have noticed, see what I did there? Your pom-poms are different sizes. I liked that because I wanted a little bit of a contrast, but just be aware that that is going to happen. So I'm not really that fussy about how circular the back is. You might want to use a plate and then a saucer or something to get your circles. But I want mine to kind of fit my actual design. So I am drawing around the design after I've laid it out on some card. Just putting a few little marks here, there and everywhere, just so that when I take the pom-poms off of that bit of card, I've kind of got an idea of where the circles are. And then when I cut the circles, I'm just going to make them maybe a little bit smaller. Just going to cut in a little bit from where I've made my marks. So just cut your circles. Like I say, I'm not that fussy if it's a bit wonky. I'm going to use, I tried to use the blue tack in the middle, stab it to get the hole in the middle, couldn't find my blue tack, so used my putty rubber. But whatever you've got, plasticine, anything like that, even a sponge. So there's a putty rubber. Where's the scissors? I'm going to stab a hole in the middle and it just makes it easier to cut out a circle. Simple. So I've got a little bit of green and a little bit of orange and I'm wrapping around my fingers. I'm making a few smaller balls of wool with both colours, and they need to be small enough so that they can fit through the whole of your card, because we're going to cover the card in both the colours, but a big ball of wool isn't going to fit through there. Two definitely aren't. So you've got to make yourself a few smaller balls of wool. You'll see what I mean. So there you go, you just need 2 or 3 of those so that they can fit through that little hole. Now I hope you've all got a glue gun. Do you remember in the previous video I said I don't think we can be friends if you don't have a glue gun? I'm only joking. To be honest, you could sellotape the start of this down, but you're going to need a glue gun to glue the pom-poms on, just to make your life a lot easier, to be honest. So I'm just gluing the beginning, the ends, and then I'm going to wrap around that donut shape lots and lots of times, as you'll see in a minute. So can you see, I did them quite close together to start with. That was just to get me started, but the first time round I'm kind of leaving a little bit of a gap, and that's just to kind of give it a bit of stability, because it's a bit of a floppy bit of card. It just makes it easier to wrap around. If you do that, then you'll just go round again, filling in the gaps. And when you run out of that ball, just glue it down. Start your next ball by gluing that one on. And here he is, an interesting donut. So what we're going to do next, we've got green wool. I decided to do green for the tassel. We're going to make a tassel because the outer ring of pom-poms is orange, so I wanted it to clash. Now, I just like making use of things that we usually throw out, so I'll always have a few toilet roll innards or kitchen roll innards. So we just basically need a rectangle of cardboard, really. So that's all I'm making here. So any bit of cardboard you've got, just make a rectangle. I just happen to be using this. So we need to be wrapping lengthways, and depending on how long you want your tassel, cut your rectangle that long. I think I went round about 30 or 40 times. I think that was right. So then you need to be getting another length of wool, longish, and you need to be putting that underneath all of the other strands at the top. Tie a knot. Try and keep your bit of card straighter than I did. It needs to be straight. Yeah, mine went a bit bendy. Keep it straight if you can. And then trim along the bottom. Don't worry if it's not that straight. You can always tidy it up in a minute. So now lay a piece of wool on your table and then put the tassel over the piece of wool, because you're going to be making, like, it's giving him a little head and a little body. You can make ghosties like this as well. So pull as tight as you can, 2 or 3 knots, make him nice and secure. And then you can tidy him up. So like hairdressers do, they grab a bit of your hair in between their fingers like that, quite tight, and then they just chop along the top, don't they? So that's what you need to be doing, giving him a little haircut along the bottom. And there he is. So now we need to attach him to our donut. So get your glue gun just to be extra secure, I would say. I'm going to tie him round, but then I'm going to just add a little blob of glue just to make him extra secure. Now we're going to add the piece of wool that you will be hanging your wreath up with. So obviously you want it from your tassel up to the top. You want it to be there so the tassel hangs in the middle. Now I just used a bit of this green wool, and I wish I'd used some thicker wool, so or maybe just doubled it up. So when you're attaching your piece of wool that will actually be hanging your wreath, if you feel like it, make it a bit thicker or double it up. I mean, it's still hung up nicely, but I don't know, I just think it would have been a bit more secure if I'd have used thicker wool. So you might want to think about doubling up at this stage. Now for the best bit. We're going to be putting the pom-poms on. I say glue gun every day of the week, but if you've got a better method of putting it on, then you do your way. But I'm going to be glue gunning some pom-poms on, and this is the best bit. Now, I say this in every video, don't worry about the sort of stringy, hairy bits of glue gun, because you can warm hairdryer those off. They just sort of disintegrate. So that's what I'm doing now, just warm hairdryering the stringy bits. And you can leave them like this, but I wanted to add some leaves. You can put sparkles on, you can add another layer of even smaller pom-poms, you know, do what you want. But now you've got your base pom-poms, you can go bananas with it, but I wanted to put some leaves on. So this is just my way of making some leaves. Doesn't have to be your way. Now, this is where toilet roll innards come into their own, because I'm just cutting off some skinny rectangles, and I like the fact that they're bendy, because then you can have a kind of a semi-bendy leaf. It kind of gives it, rather than just a flat leaf if you were using a flat bit of card, which would be absolutely fine. I quite like the bendiness of a toilet roll innard, so I'm going to be using those because it'll look cool. So you might have green, whatever colour leaves you want, or even if you don't want leaves, you might have the card already the colour, but if not, get some nice thick paint. I'm using acrylics as always. I'm having red and green. You could use yellow, orange, you can use any autumnal colour you want, obviously. Get them nice and painted. So paint one side, hair dry it, turn over, paint the other side. Okay, so they're nice and dry, and this is where I'm going to cut the leaves. So I'm going to start in the corner, can you see that? And I'm going to go diagonally, but fat diagonally. So fat diagonally. I'm doing a leaf shape, so it's kind of like a slight curve under, slight curve over. And then I'm chopping that pointy bit off because I don't need it and it'll get in my way. Then I can start again in the corner, a slight curve diagonal, and then a slight curve diagonal to make a leaf, and then chop that pointy bit off again because I'm going to need to make more leaves, and that just gives me a nice sharp corner to start with. So I'm going to be doing that with all of them. Okay, so there's all your leaves. Like I say, do them in whatever colour you want. Make them out of whatever you want. You don't even have to use leaves. They're slightly curved because of the shape of the tube, which I liked. Now, I'm going to use a white Posca pen, which is like an acrylic pen, because I've got one. But if you don't have one, use some white paint or improvise. So I've got my white Posca pen, and I'm just going to be putting some of the veins on the leaves. just deciding where I want to put the leaves before I actually glue them on. And here he is. I think he looks absolutely brilliant. So get making your pom-poms.